Hi, and welcome to this week's Super Sunday, where I'm interviewing the King of Candles, Steve and Dave Easterbrook. That's right, Steve and Dave Easterbrook from Fizzy Foam in Bridgend. Now, stick around to the end, because as ever, there's a giveaway. They're giving away a Yankee Candle this week, so to be in with a chance of winning, head down to the comments and you'll find out how you can enter this competition. As always, smash the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, because we don't want you to miss a thing. Every week we are here on a Sunday at 6 o'clock interviewing the best business people around. You will find out the hints and tips that they put forward from doing the business. Enjoy. Right, hi, so here we are today. I've got Steve Easterbrook and Dave Easterbrook, who are from Fizzy Foam in Bridgend, and they've very kindly agreed to do an interview with me today about their business. So, hello guys, how are you?
Hi.
Fantastic. It's lovely to see you as well, because it's been quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks since we caught up.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard with the coronavirus, not seeing people, and I guess you're feeling it, being shopkeepers as well. It's not natural for us to be locked away, is it?
No.
I'm really feeling it. I know you are as well, Steve, because I know you can talk as well.
Yeah. I think for us as well, it's based primarily in the shop as well. So for us, it's even though online is a small part of it, for us it is about getting people through the door and getting to talk to people and getting people to come in and buy from us in store as well.
Yeah, that's it. And I know, because when we moved our business down from Yorkshire down to here as well, and we'd had the shop up in Yorkshire, and we had a period where we didn't have the shop. It did feel really weird, and it's not comparable to this in any way, shape or form, because obviously it's totally different. But you know, when you don't have that daily interaction and seeing people who are your customers that become your friends, and people who bring the news to your door as well, because that's the other thing about being a shopkeeper, isn't it? You know, people bring their news to you, and it's great. But yeah, it's very isolating, is this? Right. Well, now we're all depressed.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about your business. Who are you? You know, how did you get started? Who's involved in the business? That sort of thing.
So Fizzy Foam is a family-based business based in Bridgend in South Wales. Fizzy Foam started in the indoor market in Bridgend, and it was an idea that we set up in October in 2012, and we thought let's give something back to our town, and let's put something in there that people want to come and buy from and come and see. So we started the business off with a small range of products, of bath bombs and soaps, and we stayed there for 6 months and had a very successful Christmas, and then decided to then grow the business then to a bigger unit in the indoor market, and then took it from there. Then we wanted to develop it into kind of something a little bit bigger with a little bit more floor space, and for the space and the money we wanted to use, we found a shop out on the high street, so that's where we took it out to there. Developed that then over 3 years, and then we got asked for the Rhiw Shopping Centre then to take it in there for a Christmas pop-up shop. So Dad stayed in Norton Street where we had the shop, and then I took it into the Rhiw Shopping Centre as a pop-up then. So we took it in there for 4 weeks to see how the business would go, and then we could see then from being right in the centre of town, being in the shopping centre, that the footfall was a lot higher, and for us we thought, is it worth the gamble on going for the shopping centre with a higher footfall as opposed to being a little bit further out of town where people then come and visit us then. So it was a roll of the dice, and we then realised from leaving the shopping centre from the end of our kind of pop-up shop lease to going back up to Norton Street, that for the business it was the way we could grow the brand and grow the business in turnover, but not necessarily in profit.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, which is the bit we're working with at the minute. So we've been in the shopping centre now for over 2.5 years. And for us now, we're kind of levelling out, and we kind of know where we are with the business. And we've been able to develop our range and our offerings. So from going right back to the indoor market store, where we went from bath bombs and soaps, we've brought it right up now to working with some of the biggest brands. So Yankee Candle, Woodward Candle, Village Candle, Bomb Cosmetics, and looking to develop our offering with those suppliers and bringing something a little bit different to Bridgend, really.
Yeah, and you're doing it very successfully, I've got to say.
Yeah, we you get your challenges, as everyone says. It's never easy working in a family business. Yeah, I think it's where you look at it that it's easy that you can kind of talk quite openly being a family business, but it's quite difficult as well, right? 6 months ago, I bought my own house with my partner, so for us that was great working for the business as well, and that now we've got our own space. So that's another weird one as well, is that when me and Dad were used to see each other for 8 to 10 hours a day during the week. For us now to kind of not see each other at all for 7 weeks now, nearly. It's
see each other every night on.
Yeah, we have Facebook calls, but.
I was gonna say, is Steve sat there going, thank goodness, yeah.
But yeah, for us with the business now, we're looking, as we were saying, it's great getting the turnover in, but as you look at a lot of businesses, the turnover can be going straight back out the door in costs as well. So for us now, it's looking to find that profit margin balance, and looking at kind of where we have the offering that we don't make much margin on. It's then looking for an offering that we can kind of make the additional margin on that we need then.
Yeah. So how do you structure it then? Because I know with us, what we did with our business was we had sort of different strings to the bow. And I think when you're in retail, it's very wise to do that, because if you just open your doors on the high street, you're not going to survive. And I know that you guys have, I know Steve's been making his own products. I know that you've started with the online business as well. Are you finding that all these extras are starting to balance where you're saying about the profit margin being eaten into with the overheads and things like that? Is that starting to help and balance there as well?
Little bit. It's certainly with my candles that it took off. It got really busy. We had some other stockists. It's about spinning all the plates, really. And
yes,
I think if we were to set up a candle making company, that we would focus on that. But to try to run a retail shop and other aspects of our life, it is trying to bring it all together, and that we've obviously got certain things that we're really good at individually. But when you try to do everything, which is what people who have their own business tend to do, you get a bit distracted.
That's it. You're right. It is about balancing all those plates and knowing what you're good at, definitely. But you're doing really well at that, actually, because you've also taken quite that. It's a big leap. It's a very big leap, because you've gone from being a tiny business in the market with a tiny stall, and then you took the bigger stall, and then you took the shop, and now you're in a shopping centre. So those are they are big leaps, each step. You're not doing it in small increments, really. That's obviously going to put a challenge and a pressure on the business with the overheads, like you say, as well. So have you found that quite difficult to cope with, or was that did it feel sort of intuitive in the next step to do?
I think going from market stall 1 to market stall 2, other than the smaller increase in the rent, well, I say small, in doubling the cost of the rent, it was quite manageable. And it's then when you go from a couple of £100 a month to now where you're talking a couple of £1,000 a month in overheads, it is the big one for us. As you said, we've grown from the market stall, where you'd be grateful for anyone to come in through the door, to where now you've got to get them in through the door, because you need that money in the till. For us, it's then looking at the additional stuff. So it's not just getting money in the till. It's now looking at your VAT. It's looking at your tax. It's looking at your health and safety. It's looking at your kind of electricity testing, fire alarms, and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's not so much just ordering more and getting more stuff on the shelves. For us, we can do that. We can do the customer service side of it, but it's looking at your legal stuff that you've got to comply with. And that's where I think we're quite lucky in that you can give Dad a couple of boxes and say display it, and he'll do it with his eyes shut. And now with me, that's what I'm looking to do now with kind of balancing Sage and looking at our customer service and kind of bringing all the paperwork and stuff together, and cracking on with that. And I think that's the hard bit. We were quite lucky that we had a business mentor from Business Wales, who transitioned with us kind of from the indoor market to the high street into the shopping centre. who we stuck with for a considerable amount of years. And now with my assessor, who I've got with my management diploma, he's an ex-retail manager as well, so he can come in and we can say, before we go and do our kind of my management stuff, what do you think of this? What do you think we can do with that? And an idea he brought into the business just before we had to shut down was a bounce back voucher, and that we said Mother's Day is great for us, for Easter not so much. And he said, well, what we used to do in my company was we used to do a bounce back voucher. So you get them when they came in.
This, a bounce back voucher.
Have you not?
No.
So for us, we had a bounce back voucher that we designed and printed, and then we knew Mother's Day week would be a really good one. So over Mother's Day week, we gave out these vouchers. And in some industries, they may say you might need to spend over £10 or £15 to get one of these bounce back vouchers. But on there, then it then said 15% over Easter weekend.
Ah, got you.
So
right,
we would then know. So then we knew for Easter weekend then where we'd be quiet maybe on the Easter weekend because people would be going away. We would then be closed on the bank holiday Monday, and we'd then have maybe kind of 4 tough days then until the following weekend. We were then hoping then that would work for us. So we gave them out, but we had them printed, we had them designed, we gave them out, and then we had to close before Easter weekend.
Awesome.
So yeah, for us it was we were lucky we hadn't put in massive investment. We've still got Easter stock sat in the stock room that hasn't gone out.
Yeah.
But for us, it's now looking at different ways of how can we develop on our customer base and what we can do differently going forward.
I've got to say, don't worry about having Easter stock left over. At this rate, Corona's going to be around until next Easter. You'll be free next Easter. You'll be grand.
Well, I think that goes back to the stock bit as well. In as we've grown as a business, it's quite difficult for me and Dad when it's your own money that you're putting into stock. Where now as we're a limited company, we say it's still our money, and that if we haven't got money in the bank to pay us at the end of the month. But it's not our money now, it's the limited company's money, and as long as we make the right decision for the business.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one as well in predicting how much stock you need going forward for each Christmas.
Yeah.
And a perfect example is Yankee Candle, in that we say to them at the start of the year, this is how much we want for the whole year. And it gets delivered then 2 months before you'd normally then say it would then go out, because we're always 1 month ahead. So before we shut for Easter, or before Easter, we already had summer sat on the stock shelves. So we've got, as soon as we go back in, summer's ready to go. And that's where we're quite lucky in that we can then see what figures they've got for us and what figures we've got on our system to kind of see if they're singing off the same hymn sheet as us. But yeah, it's a tough one going.
That's the hardest part as well, when you're a newbie in a retail environment as well, because a lot of people open a shop, they think it's going to be lovely, it's just nice to have your own little space, blah, blah, blah. But actually it's the machinations behind it and keeping on top of what stock you need, when you need it delivered, when you need to get it out on the shelves, because of course Christmas was a big one for us, and every year it felt like Christmas started earlier and earlier, so it was starting in October, it was ridiculous. But it's about getting that traffic and getting the custom in at the right time for your business as well, and that's the really difficult balancing act that I think a lot of people don't get right, and they don't realise as well when they're starting that that's what you have to do. You have to plan ahead. How have you found that? Because obviously your stock has changed, and I know that you've taken on different brands as well. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah. Brands. Because you didn't have Yankee Candle when you were in the market, and you took Bomb on when you were in Knowlton Street, I think it was. Yeah. So how did you find that was with the stock, and how did you find that balancing out for yourselves? Was it something that because I know that Steve has worked in retail before for a number of years, but it was a different sort of retail, and how did you find that seasonality? Was that quite difficult to grasp in the start?
I think it's easier, Dave, wasn't it? Because the last year that we were in Knowlton Street, that we put in a EPOS system, and it is one of the ones that Mary Portis recommended. And
good old Mary Portis, we love her.
We looked at others and we thought, well, we will take it. It's and it's something that now that we actually look at several times a day. It's our go-to place for the information that we need. and we're finding more and more that we're looking at year on year, and we find that over the last 2 years it has certainly been a lot tougher than it was previously.
Yeah.
And
these are just taking off your EPOS figures and things, aren't they?
Yeah.
So tell me about your EPOS system, because I know, again, a lot of newbies when they start, and I mean, we've all done it, we've all been there, where you go, I'm cash only, I don't want to take a card, I don't want to invest in an EPOS system, I don't see the value in it. There is a great value in it, actually, isn't there? So tell me about the system that you use, but tell me about the other ones that you looked at as well, that you thought about taking.
They're like anything, is lots of selection out there, and you're sometimes confused, bamboozled by how much is out there. And we find EPOS now is not the cheapest, but it's certainly very reliable. We don't need to contact them, but if we do, their support is great. It's a £35 a month. What's the word?
Investment charge?
Subscription, board sort of charge. But they're always there if we need us, if we want to add certain things. We wouldn't open a shop without an EPOS system. The moving on to card payments, I think, is something that every business looks at and says, why do we need to pay money to take money? But it does certainly add to your turnover. People are so easy now, just contactless, and it certainly does generate a lot more business. We don't have an integrated system. We keep our EPOS system and our payment completely separate. So as does Dave keep Sage completely separate from the EPOS Now system.
Yeah, and you find that works for you guys, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. It's easier to keep the transparency when you've got 3 systems. If it's all in one and it's all bridged and it all connects to each other, it tends to do things then on those systems that you don't understand. It does it seamlessly, but sometimes it doesn't do it in a way that you would normally do it. Yeah. Where if you keep 3 systems in your business, then we find the payment is separate. You do your Z total, you've got your EPOS system, which will give you your Z total, your figure at the end of the day, and then that information then is put into Sage together with all your invoices and all your other bookkeeping, and that's Dave's speciality.
He is good at it. Fair play.
I think one thing that Daz just said now is where we've learned is what you put in place. So we know going forward, you put CCTV in from the offset, you put a till system in from the offset. We've learned these things now going on, where we kind of say that's like building blocks. So we've learned that this is what we want from this system, this is what we want from that system, and again from the stock range as well. We've learned with Bomb Cosmetics we gave a load of space, and we then learned that even necessary from giving them that space, yes, you may then make more money off that then, but it may not necessarily make more profit. So we've learned that if we condense the range down and put something else there, which then gives a different offer, and then when customers come in, which is what we've done with kind of we brought Woodwick Candle in, then Yankee Candle then took over Woodwick, and we've then said, well, we'll put more investment into that one. We've seen that kind of flameless fragrance, so diffusers and electric burners and all that kind of stuff then as well has been a big push for us, that we've then put more range in with that, with Ashley and Burwood and Aromatize, and so it's then looking at different ranges to bring in. So for us, it's about having a master plan. So we say, if we decide then this is what we're going to do for the next business or the next shop, and we've learned that as well with going forward with Dad's Candles, that we've seen it's not necessarily we want to have 100 fragrances, but we want to maybe have 10 fragrances that we can focus on doing really well, as opposed to having a massive range. And yeah, it's having the building blocks and going forward then.
Yeah, and actually you guys do that really well. You know, when you go into your shop, this is the bit that really interests me about retail, actually, and it's a bit sad, I do realise this, but I really like the fact that you only give shelf space to certain items. You don't cram your shelves with absolutely everything in the hope that everything will sell. There is that rhyme and rhythm to everything that you do, and it's very precise and it's very detailed in what you do. And also as well, not a lot of people realise this, and you guys get this, significantly get it actually. You put your eyeline and byline in the correct place as well, and it's a massive trick that a lot of retailers miss. That, you know, when people come in the door, they normally turn right, and then you've got your Yankee Candles there, which are one of your big sellers, and you know, you draw people through your shop and you make it like a journey through, so people will come through, and you're really good at that. And it comes down to your visual displays, it comes down to your layout of your shop, and it comes down to being very, very precise about that. But you guys do that. That was done deliberately, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, I think 12 months ago we said that the shop had been the way it was, and we wanted to then rejig it round, and that's when we moved Bomb Cosmetics further down the shop. And when we did it 12 months prior to that, we kind of saw it a bit like the bread in the supermarket. It's what you'll travel for. Yep. So we put it down the bottom, and then it didn't work, so we moved it back down the front. From kind of using the EPOS till figures, we could see then sales reflected that. Even though we've done that again now, we've done it and learned from that. So as opposed to just moving the stands down, we've properly branded it, we've properly kind of marketed it properly, and we're happy with the way that's done. Now we've moved everything Bomb Cosmetics down there as opposed to just kind of the smaller lines. But in kind of using this COVID time, even though we're both furloughed at the moment, for us it's about constantly having stuff going on in the back of your mind. So yeah. For me, I've been watching a lot of kind of TV programs relating to retail. So I watched the Hotel Chocolate one the other day, and looking at kind of how they market their shops and how they brand them and how they display them. And it's a conversation that me and Dad have had in going back in, but our product is very lifestyle. It's the kind of thing you look at it and you say, is that how I'd want it in my house? And even though we've got the displays kind of as we want them, for us now it's now looking at and reflecting and saying, well, how can we tweak them and display them more home furnishings? So you wouldn't just have a candle just on a shelf, where we started to do this before we closed, where you'd have the candle with more of a lifestyle photo and a potted plant or something like that to make it more how you'd imagine to have it in your house. And that's something we're going to look at now when we go back in, is this more customer experience.
Do you know what? This really interests me actually, because this is where the internet comes into play as well, and I don't think a lot of retailers realise this. You can bring a lot of that lifestyle stuff from images on Instagram, images on Pinterest, and draw them into your shop and make them like a real life pin or, you know, an Instagram story or whatever in your shop. And that does all encourage people to buy, because it entices, it's visually, you know, great looking, it does look good. So yeah, that sort of thing. And I don't know, do you use Instagram for your sort of inspiration, and Pinterest and places like that as well for that?
For us, our demographic, and as you say, it's about looking at your customer base. And for us, even though you can't stereotype on your customer base, but for us, we can say that's our customer. Which is kind of in my previous job in working on the radio, you'd always have that listener who you're talking to in your mind. And the same again in retail, you don't want to be trying to sell a £25 electric burner and marketing it for someone who's 12. And likewise then with our bath bombs, we're not going to put a bath bomb with a little toy on top and try and market it to someone in their 40s. So for us, it's...
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. But
we've all got
that's looking for us now, in that we say Facebook is it for us. Yeah. And we do a lot more on Facebook than we do on Twitter.
Because how do you think that's been handled as well, the furloughing? How do you think that's been handled by the government?
For us, it was a little bit of uncertainty that where as I said, I work for a crime organisation, an anti-crime organisation. So for me, it was, do I claim the self-employment on that? But I haven't been doing it long enough for it to gone through a tax year to be able to then say, here's my books, can I claim now for this? For us then as directors, we were then said, well, they've then said you've got to have a director there to direct the business. Where's these guidelines? So that was a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
So we said, well, that can be furloughed and I'll see where I am. And then if I'm still working, because I can't be furloughed and the business will just pay me and we'll have to just take a knock on the profit side of it. But we were great. We were in constant contact with our accountants. And early hours this morning, our first furlough payment hit the bank account for both of us. So yeah, both grateful
That's
for
a
that.
relief.
Yeah, but I think it's a difficult one, and as well, kind of without going into the whole kind of corona chat, people, I think it's still a little bit uncertain of who can go shopping, who can't go shopping, what retailers can actually, what retailers
Tell me about your products and the ones that you do. Which ones are your best sellers? Which ones are the ones that you guys like as well? You know, which are your personal favourites?
We have candles because we burn them. Dave having a new home. How many electric burners, Dave, you got? How many candles?
Yeah, a couple of candles.
How many pretty lights you got?
We've just decorated our bedroom, just our spare bedroom just behind us, and we've.
Hey, look at that!
Got one of these home with us.
Nice.
Well, it's turned on now.
Oh, look at that! Oh, that is pretty.
Yeah. So for us, yeah, I think it's about, if you don't enjoy it and you don't love what you do, then it's a very difficult product to try and sell. And that's something even though kind of Yankee Candle, a prime example, has a massive range in that they do, I think off the top of my head, something like 25 variants of every fragrance. So say for example, black cherry, they'll do a small, medium, large, votive tea lights, car air fresheners in all the different jars. And we say, well, we'll just go for the core range in kind of the fragrances that we know and kind of know our customers will love. It's pointless filling the shelves for the stuff that, number one, that we don't agree with or don't like, and that we know our customers aren't going to love as well. And we'll look at some of the ranges and say, will that sit with Bridgend? Because again, it's about bringing to our town what we know our customers will want. And again, it's if we brought in this all singing, all dancing electric burner that was £100,
would it sell?
Would somebody in Bridgend justify spending £100 on that, where in Cardiff, London, or one of the cities they might? And I'm not necessarily saying they won't in Bridgend, but for us it's about looking at stock turnover as well. And yeah, we've always got candles kind of burning, and we got sent some fragrance oils from one of our suppliers, and I brought those home, and we're trialing those too.
Trialing them, I love it. Yeah, I'm just using everything.
And it's looking, when we go back in then for something different for our customers to try.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to our, because we're a family business, and yeah, as we said all along, it's about the margin, it's about the profit, it's about the turnover, it's about what we agree with as well. And we're not going to want to get a product in that we say we don't really 100% agree with that, or that doesn't sit morally right with us, because it's going to reflect A, on the business, and B, on us being selling it on in the business as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? You're so right about this, because it's such a personal thing as well, isn't it? That sort of invocation of fragrance and things that you have in your home. And I can remember I bought a Woodwick candle, and it was the Christmas one. You know, the green, is it Christmas?
Berries?
No, Christmas tree spice, green.
Okay.
And it smells like Christmas trees.
Okay, yeah.
But what it did was, it set me off crying, which is, I mean, you know me, I never cry. I'm like the hardest woman of Hard Nails City. I never cry. And what it did was, it took me straight back to being a kid, because my mum every year insisted we had a real Christmas tree because she was never allowed a Christmas tree. And it was just the smell of it. It just invoked such wonderful memories for me that I literally burst into tears in the shop, which was quite embarrassing actually. But that's the wonder of what you do as well. It's not just, it's lovely. It's, it is that invocation of memories as well that come with the smell.
And it's a very kind of intimate product as well. So whether it's a bath bomb, it's a soap, or it's a candle, it's something that's coming into your comfort space. And on the evening, we'll kind of close the curtains, we'll have candles along the telly, we'll have the electric burner on. It's kind of your time. So for us as well, where people come in and go, it's a candle, it may be a candle, but it's then what it does for you then in your time, in your space.
Definitely. And you guys are good on your customer service, you're known for it. So yeah,
that's something that we like to think, as we always say, we're a family business for our friends and family in Bridgend as well. And where you were saying about people would come in even for a chat. And that's the nice thing is even though it is about bringing the money into the door, it is about that experience. And
that's the thing, but you go into a family business, it's a very, very different feel. But what I love as well, and I think a lot of family businesses don't realise this, with your loyalty scheme, it's something that's in essence nicked from a larger company, and they know the value of it, they can see the value of it from the business point of view. And a lot of small businesses don't twig onto that, and I think they should really, because there is a big value in copying the large businesses, because they do things in a very set way for a very set reason, but they can be incorporated in smaller businesses, like you say. So
yeah, where I was saying, I was watching a lot of TV programs at the moment based on kind of business and quite light-hearted programs. There was one on about Tesco, and they were saying Tesco's journey from the very start right through now to opening Jack, the discount supermarket. And they were saying back in the day you'd collect the little vouchers to be able to go and get a sewing machine or something like that. And they said for them the breaking point and the part that made Tesco's was their club card. Yeah. And that's the one thing every time you go into Tesco, whether you can go to self-service checkout or you go and see somebody trying to tell, that's the one thing is going to be identical every time is, have you got your club card? And it goes back to then small business. For us, we've gone round and round in circles, where at one point we were doing key rings with barcodes on so we could scan it to save asking the customer for their name. But for us then that's the hard part as well for a small business is the outlay of cost in getting those club cards produced.
Yes.
And which is why we just keep it to customers just saying their name. Yeah. But again, for us, it's looking now going forward for when we go back, another brand identity and customers having that card in their wallet or on their key ring, and we still get some customers who had one of those key rings coming into us and it's all battered and they've had it for goodness knows how long, but it's quite nice to see our logo on their car keys next to their Tesco, and they say there's no other cards they've got on there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a big part, and that's the hard part for us as well is finding the bit between a corporate brand and people. We get a lot of people now we've moved into the shopping centre who think that we've been bought out or we've been taken over by a bigger company, because they look and they say, oh, that's not a business I'd associate with being in that size unit or in this surroundings. And that's the hard bit for us, is we have to remind customers we're a family-owned business. Yeah. Where it's Dave and Steve, we're the ones making the decisions. If the money's not there, it's us who's going to have to put it in or make the decision. I think that's the hard bit in looking at businesses grow as well, is going from that small kind of structure right the way through to big. And that's why we're enjoying what we're doing. And even though sometimes we say, should we be on number 2 or number 3 or number 4 shops now, for us it's about enjoying it and feeling comfortable in what we're doing and looking at what's right and going forward and learning these building blocks while we can with low overheads.
How nice is it though that customers think that your brand is so good that it's a corporate brand rather than a family-run business? That's such a boost in morale to you guys, because I know that you've worked really hard on your brand as well, that you've got it so right that people actually think it's bigger than it is. And it does bring its own problems when, you know, your business looks bigger than it is. I know that for a fact because we've had the same issues in other businesses. But yeah, it's really, really kudos to you guys, isn't it? You know, you've worked hard on that.
Well, we're really lucky. We got my brother as well in
yes.
In the family group who does all our
do we mention the black sheep of the family now?
He does all our major kind of where I'll do a lot of our graphics and all that kind of stuff in our marketing, where if we say we want a brand overhaul or something like that, then that's something that Hopkin will look at. We're very lucky that he's very on point and very on the pulse with what he does, and that he created Fizzy Foam as the rebrand when we moved out onto Norton Street. And again, when we went into to do kind of handmade Welsh candle, which is the candle brand that Dad kind of looks after and manages, in that Hopkin kind of gets it and can turn it around and make it look so polished.
Yes. He's a great marketer actually, and he's great at putting marketing ideas into a brand. He's a great brand strategist, is Hopkin actually. Fair play to him.
Yeah, he does really well. And again, that's the hard bit then in bringing it down to kind of customer level for where you then say that's a brand that should be seen by hundreds of thousands. You then say it's in Bridgend, and we're then trying to bring it down to that side of the market as well. Then, it's one that me, Mum, Dad, Hopkin, all kind of try and bring pieces to and try and make it work.
It is a real family affair, and that's really nice. That is nice. Tell us about the giveaway that you're very kindly going to do as well. And what are you giving away?
Medium Yankee Candle.
Any flavour, smell?
Any fragrance.
Ah, there you go. Lovely. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, just hit the link below, and you can put your details in there when you go through on the link and be in with a chance. We pick them midweek, so it will be on Wednesday of next week. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys. You know, it's been a real pleasure actually talking to you and talking business, because we don't often get the chance to sit down and do this. So thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate it. So good luck with the rest of the corona outbreak. I know you're going to be working hard behind the scenes as well. So yeah, it'd be good to see Fizzy Foam back up and running, and I'll be first in the queue. Because all my candles are burnt down. See you later. Ta-ra, guys.
Bye. And actually,
it's cool. We can edit all of this. Well, now we're all depressed.
Yeah. You get your challenges, as everyone says. It's never easy working in a family business.
He can hear you.
That's fine. We have this discussion. We have the discussion in family board meetings, and so yeah. Well, where I've got kind of as I say, I try and pull everything together in the business. There's Mum then who helps out then. On the sales side of it.
Sorry, no. When you say you pull everything together, what you're saying is you're the boss.
Well,
I'm the Alan Sugar.
But then you think, Dad being self-employed.
Can I just stop you a sec? Has Dave stopped for you as well, Steve? Has he frozen? Can you see him moving?
No.
Or what? He's moving.
Yeah.
Oh,
slowly. But,
you've frozen on my screen like that.
Oh.
Which was great.
Am I there?
No, that's ridiculous.
Am I back?
Tell me about your products and the ones that you do. Which ones are your best sellers? Which ones are the ones that you guys like as well? You know, which are your personal favourites?
Total silence. I think it's very salad there.
You're telling us neither of you like it, any of you. Right, okay. So, you tell me, guys, which ones are your favourites?
I thought he froze for a second.
For a number, you know, your pounds shillings and pence. I was going to say, but I'm showing my age there. But yeah. Now, how did I not know that you had chocolates in yours? I would have been down like a shot if I'd
Only
known.
Christmas time. Only Christmas time.
Christmas, I'll be there now this year. December the 1st, I'll be knocking on the door. Quality Street or whatever it is that you've got. Yeah, I'll be there.
Other chocolates are available.
They aren't.
That's Dave's speciality.
He is good at it. Fair play.
Touch the product, feel the product, smell the product.
Don't call your father a product. He's not a product. He's a human.
The way we look at and that we had quite a big major fraud on the business.
God, yeah.
So
Tesco, we could call her she.
Coming from a retail environment, which I have all of my life in the jewellery trade, that it is different when you're doing it for yourself.
Can I just point out, though, going down and robbing Hatton Garden is not being in the jewellery trade, okay?
I know that, even not on that occasion.
Shotgun Steve, we know.
Yeah, I know.